So, Superman, the Soup Boy, James Gunn, Fantastic Four, both of these films out, both sort of competing against each other, trying to bring back that comic book style linky. But what is the best movie out of these two? The best way to settle this? Let's do a damn freaking movie final battle, baby. So, shout out to your boys that have been put out there. Fantastic Four, Superman, man. So again, we have how many do we have? So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, good. Yeah, so that's be obviously a known number. So best of seven, 7 categories, 7 different styles that these things will be competing with, and I'll try and see which one takes it between Superman and the Fantastic Four, man. So without further ado, let's get it. So the first up is direction. Which is the best directed film? So with direction, I also add visuals as well. So it's visuals, its look, and just how things are just being brought together from a directorial point of view. I do think that there is one I feel is pretty I think it's pretty substantially. I think both have good bits, both have a good nice zany style, but I have to roll with Fantastic Four. Go with Fantastic Four. I just feel that's big. Okay, fine. It's okay because it's even if it's set in the 60s and it's a time period thing, people say okay, time period tax. That basically the scene with the Silver Surfer alone and that scene when they meet Galactus, visually it destroys anything in the Superman film. I think the Superman film, I don't think James Gunn's direction is not his strongest suit. James Gunn's strength really is writing. His strength isn't directing. And I think with Matt Shackman, even if he came from TV, there are a few TV bits there, how he built the world, but how he represented Galactus, how he represented just that section with the Fantastic Four against Galactus, and just how he was able to handle that from a visual point of view, blocking point of view, directing point of view, action point of view, and how he was able to do the choreography so well. I think that was just a superb standard. But I just think visually, it just looks far better. And also the costumes look better. I know I'm a costume better. The costumes look better. The sets look better. The production looks better. The action was shot a lot better and much more exciting. Because I felt a few of the scenes in Superman, especially the action scenes, did look a little bit ropey. So for direction, give it to Fantastic Four. Soundtrack. Now, there's a story here behind the soundtrack here, which what makes this one a clear winner. So for me, this isn't even up for debate. And I'm actually disappointed because really it should be Superman. Because this is a franchise that gave us and also from Hans Zimmer. So you'd expect Superman would definitely have the best soundtrack. Shout out to your boy Michael Giacchino. Yeah, 100%. Has a theme, has a strong theme, and listen to the soundtrack is damn good. Now, the thing with the Superman soundtrack is, I think it's John Murphy who worked on Guardians of the Galaxy. He was hired, and from what I read, he was actually sacked. So he was actually sacked from his role on this, and then he actually hired someone else. And so it's a mixture of a soundtrack where you now have 2 composers, so it's not really cohesive, and you also have contemporary music, which doesn't count as a soundtrack. And nobody used contemporary music better than Tarantino. But I thought 100% for the soundtrack there was far stronger, far better, and actually had much more of a personality. So the soundtrack, I'm going there for Fantastic Four. It's not looking good. 2 up Fantastic Four. Screenplay. Both I still feel there's a massive issue with the screenplay in both. I still think there are massive issues. But the screenplay for this one took more risks, did more interesting things, while this one was far safer. Sorry, Soups is a beatdown, man. Gonna get this Fantastic Four, man. Nah, come on, bro. It's Superman. MCU tax. Fantastic Four, like the story was freaking basic. It was literally ABC, nothing, no risks taken, nothing interesting, nothing bold, nothing. Again, for Superman, wasn't a fan of Crypto. The Pocket Universe was weird, but what he did with Kal-El's parents, where he set Superman in on the world, the creation of the world, the politics of the world, and easily the standout scene of the whole film. Just from writing alone, it destroys anything in Fantastic Four. The interview between Lois Lane and Superman, that alone just had far more weight and far more juice in it and far more nuance than anything in Fantastic Four. And I just thought that there was far more interesting things and interesting concepts in a Superman script than there was in the Fantastic Four script. So for that, Superman easily gets that screenplay. It's it was more layered, but the key thing was it took more swings, it took more risks. Fantastic Four was very basic, run of the mill MCU. Nothing ventured whatsoever. So screenplay, I'm giving that to your boy James Gunn. And again, what did I say? James Gunn, that is his strength. So no, what could I say? Acting. Both, I think they were both good. Superman, damn good acting from the core, specifically Lois Lane, Lex Luthor, and Superman. For me, I thought the three were good. Pedro Pascal, he's always good, although I think it's oversaturated. But I'm gonna give this 100% to Superman because I think that the David Cornsweet, for me, the best thing about Superman, as I said in my review, David Cornsweet's acting. His acting, not the character which I had issues with, but just his acting. Pedro Pascal, he was good, but just Pedro Pascal. Joseph Quinn, good actor, didn't work. Abel Moss, it's CGI, so it doesn't even count. Vanessa Kirby, as I said, Jessica Alba was better. Sue me. Sorry, Jessica Alba was better than Vanessa Kirby, personally. So I'd rather have Jessica Alba back in that role. But I just thought that for Superman, Rachel Brosnahan, she was great. I felt she could have been developed more and it could have been more centered about that. But for what she was given, she was very, very good. Lois Lane, very good. David Cornsweet, very good. Nicholas Hoult, always very good. So just that's three of Lois Lane, Superman, and I think so basically Nicholas Hoult, Rachel Brosnahan, and David Cornsweet, very, 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 very good. And I just thought they gave far better performances that had a lot more to them than Joseph Quinn, Ebert Moss, Vanessa Kirby, and Pedro Pascal. So, and again, we're not really counting Finchy from The Office, aka Galactus, man, because CG, and Julia Garner was again CG, so that doesn't count. So yeah, acting easily goes to Superman. Like for me, that was probably one of the strongest parts of the film was the acting, not necessarily the script, but just the actual quality of the acting. I thought was the strongest part of this one film. Wow factor. So what were the big wow amazing factors in these things? The scenes that really stood out and everything. It's an easy one, bro. There's no discussion here. For me, in Superman, there was nothing. It was like, again, but there was. Okay, what's the biggest wow factor to Superman? I can't think of one. I can't think of one. I think that's maybe the issue. Fantastic Four, Galactus was superbly done. The 60s, just the visuals of the 60s, superbly done. Again, film could have done more, but that entire sequence, maybe it's about 6-7 minutes, of them going to Galactus, meeting Galactus for the first time, escaping Galactus, and Silver Surfer like freaking doing surfing on the magma, just that alone was incredible. And Superman never had a sequence like that. He never had a sequence that was like, which made me go, wow. Galactus alone, just how he was done, superb. Absolutely superb. Again, they bricked him up and they messed him up, but how he was done, superb, absolutely superb. So for that, yeah. Um, Impacts. Which film had a greater impact? The streets don't lie. The streets don't lie. I think for this movie, for better or for worse, more people are talking about it, and maybe it's because I think they're both in similar boats because both of these films are coming off previous iterations that people didn't like and people had strong negative views towards. And I felt that this film is more impactful because of how much it differentiates from its previous its iterations, as opposed to this one where it does differentiate as well, but not as much. So, nah, it's a Fantastic Four, man. No, 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 no. Superman. Um, Fantastic Four, I felt it was cool. It was cool, but it's for me. It's the best film of all the Fantastic Four films. It's the best film. But even watching it, it just felt as if, okay, you've made it better, but you don't really feel anything. I think for Superman, for better or for worse, and I'm trying to take myself out of it. See, impact, it's not about me. I've got to take myself out of it. I just see are the people saying. And I just think that the character of Superman, how light he is, how more jovial he is, how positive he is, just his general characterization, people are just connected with it more. So basically just how much it's differentiated from that trash of steel is why it's made such a big impact amongst people like, oh my gosh, this is Superman that I know. Oh, he's not dopey anymore. He actually has a personality. He actually has a character. I think for Fantastic Four, it just feels as if, because Fantastic Four could have made a huge impact if the MCU allowed it to breathe. If it was allowed just to be a film in and of itself, where it really was about the world. It was really about the Sixers. It was really about the setting, and the film revolved around the family, and it was a smaller threat rather than Galactus. I think it could have actually had a bigger impact of like, oh, this is what the Fantastic Four show should be like. But it wasn't allowed to be a film in and of itself. It had to serve its master, which is the MCU. Whereas for Superman, Gunn was just allowed to freaking cook. Yes, it's the DCU, but he was allowed to cook. So I just felt it was more impactful based on just the film had more of an identity that people liked. And Fantastic Four, its identity is MCU. It's just like, oh, this was yet another MCU movie, you know. And this is an interesting one. Which film will have the greater legacy? The greater legacy. So years from now, will people return to it fondly? And again, it's an obvious one, bro. It's an obvious one, bro. Superman. I think years from now, people just be like, "Oh yeah, that was a good MCU movie." But even when you watch it, you have to watch it with Doomsday, because they'll be okay. So what does this mean connected to Doomsday? What does this mean for the MCU? So it just feels like another MCU installment, and people just say, "Yeah, it was a pretty good film," but it just won't have that luster. I think from years, guys can look back and be like, "Oh yeah, this was a nice fun time out." Again, I also called my friend, went to watch it with his girlfriend, and like they say, oh no, they both enjoyed it. And he's not really a comic book movie guy. Like he's more into video games and stuff, but not really a comic book movie guy. But he was like, oh, it was fun. And I think 5-6 years from now, guys kind of still return back to it because again, it's a film in and of itself. You don't need to watch it next to something else. 5-6 years from now, you watch Fantastic Four, it just feels as if, okay, this is in the middle of a larger story, but where is it going? So it will pretty much be dependent on what happens with Doomsday. But even if Doomsday is amazing, I just feel that Superman will have more legs and will stand the test of time much better than the Fantastic Four, man. So those are the two that. Some what you think. Do you agree? Do you disagree? And I'll see you more for more movie final battles. Get freaking